In the middle of San Diego downtown, ClickUp's office is anybody's dream place to work. Free food, views of the Petco Park, gyms, coffee on tap, honestly, anything you could ask for. It's safe to say I'd want to work here. I don't think it'd be wrong to assume that most people would. This sounds like a dream. But guess what? Offices are empty. As somebody who's grown up around many who worked in tech, I visited many tech workspaces. To me, these places were the best. Huge monitors, free food and drinks, expansive views, game rooms, sleeping areas, they had it all. I couldn't imagine any other place with such an accommodating work environment where employees could relax and thrive in their job at the same time. Of course, as the pandemic hit, these jobs turned completely remote. However, to my surprise, many of these jobs stayed remote. It made no sense to me. Remote work was clearly the worst option. This is something I experienced firsthand when I began working in a research group in fall quarter. While we were able to make progress on a project, I didn't really feel a sense of connection with my project lead. Honestly, I couldn't gauge where project was going. Then, when we shifted to in-person meetings once a week, I felt a sense of connection with my teammates and a sense of camaraderie. It is significantly easier to work asynchronously at some other time, given that we had met earlier and were clear on our project goals. And I had met my teammates and I felt like I was working towards something tangible. And this isn't something unique to me. When I spoke with my cousin who works at ServiceNow, a tech company in the Bay Area, he corroborated that collaboration and many meetings are better run in person. Plus, it would only make sense that the free food, great views, and stress busting arenas like game rooms could only make the job easier. Right? Given the amount of companies that are shifting to completely remote or hybrid work modalities, I realize that there has to be some validity to the argument. According to a survey conducted on the post pandemic travel patterns of tech workers, about 20% of tech workers expect to go fully remote after the pandemic, while most of them expect to work in a hybrid fashion where they work some days in office and some days at home. It's hard to ignore the perks of this system. For example, remote work means more quiet work for longer periods of time, undistracted. Inquiring with my cousin on this topic, he corroborated that I prefer working at home and I do focused work. When I'm in office, there are a lot of distractions. Also, the time remote work saves makes it worth it for some. For example, employees can log off at 5 pm and immediately see their children, rather than coming back home at 7 p.m. and then having to get to bed early to commute to office early in the morning. I experienced this as when my dad grew more senior in his job, he would have many days when he would be able to work from home. These days were the best for me because when I'd come home from school, my dad would be there, usually done with his work. In this sense, remote work can increase time with loved ones and family, allowing for more freedom and enjoyment with their work. From a company's perspective, remote work can lead to economic benefits. In a study conducted on a software company in Latvia, researchers noted that over 175 euros per employee per month can be saved in costs for a tech company by switching to a fully remote modality. These costs range from free food to Wi-Fi, all of which are offset by employees having to provide these costs from their own pocket. In a capitalist society where social media brags about productivity and getting the most work done in the least amount of time, remote work is the best option. But is this where we want to head as a society? Ultimately, there's no one work modality that is better than the other. It's about how you take each one and are able to make the most of it. You could work remotely and still connect your team members by meeting outside work hours and building a bond between your team. At the same time, you could work completely in office and find ways to get work done while spending enough time with family and your loved ones. Maybe it's about how you take each one and make the most of it. Tech jobs are unique. For most jobs, like teaching in a school, working in a factory, or working as a manager in a restaurant, the space is the job. However, for tech, your laptop is the job. This is where you decide your destiny. I like to end by painting a familiar scenario. In downtown San Diego, a project management software company has its office. This office, overlooking Petco Park, presents an example of an ideal office for anybody. Yet, this company's office is largely left unused. What would you do? Go to office or stay at home?